The member for Gippsland.
Speaker, I rise to condemn the senseless and cowardly people who deliberately light fires in our community, causing enormous emotional and physical stress, along with the economic losses and the threat to human life. Last week, as the temperature soared in excess of 40 degrees, fires were deliberately lit in bushland around the townships of Ballara, Merbau North and Yanar. I'll offer my views a little bit later on how we should treat those cowards in the future once we catch them, but I would like to reflect just for a moment on the courage and the resilience and the determination of the people of Gippsland who fought the fire. And, Deputy Speaker, quite simply, the people were magnificent. The community rallied together and was well supported by firefighting crews from right across the state. From the strike teams on the ground to the aerial water bombers and the support staff at the incident control centres and at the relief centres, it was an amazing community effort to combat these fires. It's when we see the spirit of country Australians at its best, standing together and shoulder to shoulder against a common cause. Now, despite an extraordinary effort by firefighters, the losses to the community were substantial, as more than 6,000 hectares of forested areas, of plantations and private property was burnt. While dozens of properties were saved through the efforts of our firefighting teams, we did lose 29 homes. Now, I inspected the damage on the weekend around the Ballara area, and as heartbreaking as it is to see one family home destroyed, to see 29 in a line is quite distressing. It's a devastating scene, and all our thoughts and our prayers are with those who have suffered such great losses. Deputy Speaker, it's estimated that arsonists cost our nation $1.6 billion per year, and the damage bill in Gippsland alone from these fires will be in the tens of millions of dollars. There are severe penalties existing for convicted firebugs in Victoria, and I wish the police every blessing as they try to track down these offenders. But there's an economic and an environmental and a social imperative for us to do better at preventing fires in the future, and I believe the penalties need to go beyond the initial punishment set by the courts. This week I've written to the Prime Minister seeking his support for a national register of arsonists to help prevent a repeat of this week's fires. I believe we need a national database of people who've been convicted of such serious fire-related offences. I'm not unduly concerned, Deputy Speaker, about protecting their civil liberties in the future once they have shown a complete disregard for the safety and the rights of our community with such senseless crimes. We need to have a national database of every known firebug with strict reporting provisions which require these people to report any change of address and subject them to higher levels of scrutiny and police surveillance if required. It would allow our authorities to check on these people during days of extreme danger when firebugs tend to be at their worst, and the most serious offenders could be required to report to authorities on days of total fire ban. It's hard enough for our fire authorities to manage the lightning and other natural events and accidents without the constant threat of criminal activity contributing to the fire danger period. As I said, Deputy Speaker, in my earlier remarks, the people of Gippsland performed magnificently during last week's bushfires, and I've written to the Prime Minister and sought his support for this practical measure that could help to reduce the incidence of these deliberately lit fires in the future.